Let's talk about assignments. This is one of the areas that is probably least understood by real estate agents. And I keep seeing addendums and all sorts of documents to change the buyer on a contract when there is an assignment. And that is really not the right way to go about it. Basically, when it comes to assignments, there are three scenarios in a contract, in a residential contract or commercial for that matter. Either the buyer can assign the contract with them still being liable for performance, or the buyer can assign the contract and no longer be liable for anything, or number three, the buyer cannot assign the contract. If the buyer cannot assign the contract, then you're not going to have an assignment. If you want to bring in someone else, swap out the buyer, then you're going to have to amend the contract and basically change the party. So you're making a change to the contract, to the body of the contract. In a true assignment, however, you have a new person, the assignee, step in and take the place of the buyer. So there are no changes to the contract whatsoever, and there's no amendment or addendum to the contract changing the buyer. The buyer that has the right to assign the contract, that is his or her right under the contract, simply assigns the contract to another person. So the buyer is an assigner and the new buyer would be the assignee. And there's neither a requirement for seller approval, nor is there a need to have the seller sign anything on the assignment. The seller simply needs to be notified that the buyer executed their rights under the contract to assign, and the contract has been assigned to a new person, and then provide a copy of the assignment for the seller's records and notify the title company. So that being said, usually when a buyer assigns a contract to another party, they're going to get something of value, and that too is none of the seller's business. This is between the assigner and the assignee, and so in reality you're going to have a separate agreement if there's anything of value that would spell out, okay, the assignee is paying the assignor $20,000 in exchange, in consideration for the assignment. If you have any questions when it comes to assignments, feel free to direct message me or post comments. Feel free to email me. You can email me to thomas@thomashyman.com. I'll be happy to help you. Or talk to your broker, obviously, or talk to a real estate attorney. An assignment agreement is not something that you want to draft yourself. Your broker may have an assignment agreement template, or your real estate attorney can provide an assignment agreement. But again, an assignment is basically a document, a contract, an agreement between the current buyer, the assignor, that is assigning that contract to the new buyer, the assignee, in exchange for some consideration usually. And the seller only needs to be notified of the assignment. The seller does not have to approve it. The seller either agreed to give the buyer the right to assign in the contract itself, or they didn't. Hope you found this helpful. As always, my name is Thomas Hyman with Realty Partners.